Just say this, every label passed up on me. Every record company passed up on me. Every crew, you know, like I'm from New York. Jay's crew and 50's crew didn't sign me. You know, I wasn't signed to Nas, and you know, I wasn't signed to anybody, you know.
She definitely didn't show her face. Okay. She definitely didn't show her face.
1 foot, big foot, 2 foot, little foot.
She was just in there. She was like, yeah, she do got 3 Grammys. But I'm gonna try to make that work in my favor. Like, okay.
You should be quiet.
Just,
Nikki, I love you
I would
down,
just
but
tread
you
lightly
should've-
when it comes
you
to
should be
party
quiet.
though, because y'all was pillow talking. He know a lot. So like he said in that first song in The Person, he came at her like, I was like, ooh, yeah, I wouldn't.
But she
I would
said
leave
that
that
in her
alone.
song. You pillow talking. I ain't never gonna.
I know,
be back
but
with you
I would
again.
still leave that alone because there's too much
He's a
that's
rapper
said.
though. He's a rapper though, so like, and he writes too. Like he
Yeah,
helped her write
that
some
that
of
was
her
a strong
songs
diss.
and other people's songs.
That was a strong diss track.
But also because he's a rapper, he knows how to use his words. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know what's true and what's not true.
Right.
There's pictures of many major names, and you'll see different pictures of Jay-Z with younger women.
Oh.
Okay, and I don't know who that is. Is that
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah? When she
Aaliyah.
was what, 16 or something like that?
I think there's one, Rob, where she puts the age right
here.
there.
Zoom in.
16,
15,
age
16.
15.
Okay. If Nicki Minaj tweets something like this and Jay-Z doesn't sue, well, it's very different than what Trump does. If Trevor Noah said something to Trump as a joke on his stand-up against him and Bill Clinton and the island, and he likes islands because Epstein Island is no longer around, and Trump immediately sues, we haven't seen it yet, but he says he's going to, and then he's going to be suing Michael Wolff. I mean, you got to just realize what's going to happen here. Is Jay-Z going to do anything to Nicki Minaj?
Your kids think you're cool?
Blue, she be fronting on me a little bit, but I catch her. I catch her in the corner, you know. Now she asks me, you know, if this cool, if you know her sneakers or whatever she's wearing.
She
now.
wants your advice.
Yeah. She's come back, but there was a time where she was like, "Dad,"
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm cool. I don't know what you're saying."
Yeah.
At your house, your parents is cool.
When you sit here, you know, the one question everybody has is there a part of you that thinks it's time for me to get back in the studio, or you're in no rush to do that, or are you waiting till the time is right for you?
Yeah, I think.
Because we can't use the word retirement for you.
Yeah. No, I already did that. I can't do that ever again. I would say I want to make music, but it has to be something important. I don't want to just make a bunch of tunes. That's not going to serve me. It won't feed me, first of all.
What does feed you? What feeds you?
I have to be saying something important. It has to mean something. You know, it has to mean something to a larger society. Like 444, for example, was a personal story.
Yeah.
But the amount of vulnerability in there allowed for a lot of people to explore the space.
Nicki Minaj has never been the type to stay quiet. But what happened after the Grammys this time? It wasn't just a clapback. It wasn't just a shady tweet. It turned into a full-blown online storm that pulled in Trevor Noah, Jay-Z, Lizzo, Billy Porter, and basically the entire internet. And the wildest part? It all started with one joke. But what happened next had people asking if Nicki was just venting, or if something deeper was boiling under the surface. Because this wasn't just drama. This felt like a meltdown in real time. So here's how it began. The Grammys were rolling along, celebrities in their seats, jokes flying, the usual award show energy, and then host Trevor Noah brought up Nicki Minaj. He pointed out that she wasn't there. And instead of leaving it at that, he tossed in a joke that instantly got people talking. He joked about Nicki being at the White House with Donald Trump, then made a ridiculous comment about having the biggest butt. The crowd laughed. Most people would have shrugged it off. But Nicki doesn't really do shrugging it off, because within hours, she was on Twitter, and the tone was sharp. The kind of sharp that lets you know this wasn't playful, this was personal, and fans could already feel it. Nicki was irritated, and when Nicki gets irritated online, it rarely stays small, and that was only the beginning. At first, it looked like a simple response. Nicki fired back at Trevor with a post that immediately crossed into messy territory, suggesting things about his personal life. And people were like, okay, that's harsh. But then the night took a turn no one expected, because suddenly, Nicki wasn't just talking about Trevor Noah anymore. She shifted her focus, and she aimed at someone much bigger, Jay-Z. Out of nowhere, Nicki started posting about him in a way that completely stunned people. The internet froze. Because whether you love Jay-Z or not, that's not a name most artists casually throw into a rant. And Nicki wasn't just throwing shade. She was hinting at dark industry rumors that have floated around celebrity culture for years. The kind of rumors that always spark chaos online. And within minutes, timelines were flooded. People weren't even talking about the Grammys anymore. They were asking, why is Nicki doing this? Why now? What set her off? And is she spiraling? Or is she trying to send a message? But then the internet noticed something even stranger. Nicki didn't stop at words. She started posting images, photos meant to imply certain things about Jay-Z's past. But here's the problem. Fans immediately began digging, and the internet is undefeated when it comes to receipts. People started pointing out that some of the photos didn't match the timelines Nicki was suggesting. One picture was traced back to a completely different year. Another looked edited, and suddenly the conversation shifted again. Because now it wasn't just, Nicki is ranting. It became, wait, is she posting misinformation? Critics accused her of losing control. Supporters argued she was being attacked for speaking out. And neutral fans were just sitting there like, what is even happening right now? The night had turned into a spectacle. Nicki was trending everywhere, and every tweet made it worse. Because instead of backing down, she doubled down. And that's when another celebrity stepped in, someone completely unexpected, and Nicki snapped again. Enter Lizzo. Now, Lizzo wasn't trying to start a war. She basically jumped in to defend Jay-Z from the online frenzy. Her point was simple. Just because someone's name shows up in massive documents or rumors doesn't automatically mean guilt. She urged people to focus on facts instead of internet hysteria. A reasonable take, right? But Nicki did not take it that way. Instead, she turned her attention toward Lizzo, and what followed was one of the ugliest moments of the entire rant. Nicki posted cruel, personal insults about Lizzo's weight, her music, and her career. And instantly, the internet split in half. One side was like, that was DMN unnecessary. The other side was like, Lizzo should have stayed out of it. But either way, Nicki was no longer just fighting Trevor Noah. She wasn't even just fighting Jay-Z. Now she was fighting anyone who didn't agree with her. And people started asking, is Nicki okay? Because this didn't feel strategic anymore. It felt emotional, like she was swinging at everyone in reach. And the next person she went after made it even messier. Just when you thought the drama couldn't expand further, Billy Porter popped up. Billy had been making rounds online, and at one point he openly disrespected Nicki, basically saying F Nicki Minaj. No filter, no hesitation. Now why? Because Nicki has become increasingly polarizing politically, especially with her past comments and her perceived alignment with controversial figures. Billy, as an outspoken LGBTQ voice, clearly wasn't here for it. And Nicki responded exactly how you'd expect. She clapped back with insults and mocking comments. It got ugly fast. And now, this wasn't just celebrity drama. This had turned into a culture war, politics, identity, fandoms. Everyone was picking sides. And what started as a Grammys joke was now a full-scale public breakdown involving multiple stars. But underneath all the chaos, Nicki started hinting at something else, something deeper. Because what if this wasn't really about Trevor Noah at all? Here's where things get interesting. In the middle of all these tweets, Nicki dropped something that almost got overlooked. She hinted that she wouldn't be releasing new music until her contract was renegotiated. She talked about sabotage. She mentioned Billboard. She suggested she'd been bullied behind the scenes. And suddenly, people started connecting dots, because Nicki has had a long history of feeling like the industry doesn't fully support her the way it supports others. She's spoken before about being blackballed, about gatekeeping, about industry politics, and if you're Nicki Minaj, one of the biggest rappers alive. But you still feel cornered? That says something. Fans began wondering, is this about power? Is she frustrated with how she's treated? Is she tired of playing nice? Because maybe this wasn't random. Maybe this was years of tension boiling over in one night. And that raises the biggest question of all. Nicki ranting online isn't new. Let's be honest. We've seen this before. Nicki has always been intense, always outspoken, always ready to defend herself. But this time felt different. This wasn't a single clapback. This was hours of tweets, multiple targets, extreme accusations, personal insults. It felt messy, uncontrolled, and people started asking, is she protecting herself or is she hurting herself? Because every time Nicki goes on these public spirals, the headlines write themselves, and the narrative becomes less about her music and more about her behavior. That's the trap, and it's one the internet loves more than anything else. Build someone up, put them on a pedestal, celebrate them like they're untouchable. And then the second they slip, the second they show they're human, people rush in to watch them unravel. It's almost like the fall is more entertaining than the success. And Nicki knows that. That's what makes this whole moment even more confusing. Because Nicki Minaj isn't new to fame. She isn't new to controversy. She isn't new to people twisting her words, dissecting her moves, or waiting for her to mess up. She's survived too much in this industry to not understand how the game works. So why do it? Why go off like that, knowing every tweet would become a headline, knowing every insult would spark backlash, knowing the internet would turn it into a spectacle, unless she truly feels like she has nothing left to lose. And that's what makes it so intense, because when someone reaches that point, when they stop caring about the consequences, things can get unpredictable fast, and what happened next could change everything. By the end of the night, Nicki Minaj wasn't just trending, she was dominating the entire conversation. Every blog was posting updates, every fan base was arguing, every timeline was split down the middle. Some fans were defending her like she was being targeted unfairly, saying people have been trying to provoke her for years. Others were disappointed, saying she crossed lines she didn't need to cross. And critics? They were calling it a complete collapse. But one thing was undeniable. Nicki reminded everyone that she's still one of the most powerful, unpredictable forces in pop culture, because love her or hate her, when Nicki speaks, people listen. The real question is, where does she go from here? Does she pull back and refocus on music? Does she double down and keep firing? Or was this the start of an even bigger storm waiting to hit? Does the industry respond? Or does this become another chapter in the long, complicated story of an artist battling fame, pressure, and control? Because what happened at the Grammys wasn't just a celebrity feud, it was a glimpse into how quickly the internet turns entertainment into warfare. And Nicki is standing right in the center of it. So now the question is, was this just Nicki blowing off steam? Or was this the beginning of something much bigger?